to say, I'd like to comment beforehand. You are an intelligence analyst or a geopolitical strategist. Tell us the latest what's going on. You haven't heard back from POTUS yet, but how desperate is the situation? Because we see the chances of a war with Iran increasing moment by moment. We see 17 million citizens in Russia are Muslim. 42% of the Russian army is Muslim. They all adhere to the religious leadership of the mullahs on Iran, even if they're outside Iran, like Tajikistan and Azerbaijan. We have a real bad situation here at home where the demon rats are sticking up another false story, saying they have a whistleblower, and really this is a CIA political operative who's pretending that he has first-hand knowledge, and he doesn't even have first-hand transcripts or audio of the conversation, when it's a perfectly natural conversation between the new leader of Ukraine and Donald Trump. I mean, if you can't let a president have secure, private conversations, you can't have a president, to be honest with you. So please continue. I'll let you analyze what's going on.
Well,
right?
first of all, Dr. Deagle, I think our listening audience should know something about Russia. Going back to Ivan the Terrible is very significant in terms of understanding not only Russian history but also Islamic history throughout Central Asia, because as Ivan the Terrible's troops moved southward into Central Asia, they decapitated every single sultan or Islamic king. And this is why when you go into Moscow and see Red Square and notice the various domes on top of St. Basil's Cathedral, each one of those symbolizes one of the crowns of the sultans in Central Asia that were of the sultans that were beheaded during the time of Ivan the Terrible. And of course, they hired a Italian architect to make them look very picturesque, but that's what they symbolize. And this gives you an idea as to how the Russians, through the decades, have looked upon the Muslims, not only of Central Asia, but other areas. And, of course, during the former Soviet Union, there were rather tight constraints upon the Muslim people. They were able to have their...
well, the way the Muslims treat Christians everywhere, but you treat Christian Russians badly, there's consequences, isn't there? Please continue.
Yes, there are. But on the other hand, people should understand basically what Russian policy is all about, and that is very anti-Muslim. And here we find a situation where, through the auspices of former KGB agent Yevgeny Primakov, they were able to, the Russians were, after the Cold War, and during the Cold War, were able to make tremendous headway into Iran, just as they were into several of the Arabic nations in the Middle East, the Near East, and North Africa. So you have to keep this whole perspective in mind. And don't forget about the invasion of Afghanistan. Afghanistan was a constitutional monarchy. You had moderates that basically wanted to be in control, and then the communists overthrew the legitimate government in Kabul, and then that's when the Russian troops came in and invaded and occupied Afghanistan, killing 1 million Afghans.
Do you know what slayed the Russians?
Infective diarrhea. I didn't quite hear clearly, Dr.
What slayed the Russians was diarrhea.
Yes,
they couldn't.
The water was not conducive to the typical Russian troop, and as a result, they did acquire diarrhea on a grand scale. And that was shared with me with a former Afghan official who was at one time finance minister of Afghanistan and for a while even their UN representative or UN ambassador. Yeah. So I have a fairly good understanding of the Afghan situation. Basically, even though at a time when moderates
and by the way,
were in control of
we
Afghanistan,
made a deal. Let me insert two things. We made a deal with the Taliban to still dump crocodile, which is poor quality heroin, into the Russian market to kill Russian young people.
yes,
We also see Russia now selling military equipment to Turkey, our so-called co-NATO ally, against the NATO regulations that allow them to do that.
yes,
I'd like you to comment on both of these things.
yes. There's one interesting thing about Turkey that very few people in the West are aware of. Turkey, because it was a member of NATO, had the license to manufacture the Stinger surface-to-air missile, which, of course, was deployed in Afghanistan very effectively against the Russian Hind gunship helicopters, and probably was the main factor besides the diarrhea that caused the Russians to leave after a decade of control of that nation. But getting back to Turkey, you have a leader at this time who apparently is very anti-U.S. at this time, has decided to switch sides basically with the West and align himself with Russia. It's a rather interesting situation that has occurred. But during the Obama administration, there were allegations that U.S. CIA and other sources in our government were responsible, allegedly, for the coup attempt that took place when Erdogan was in power. And, of course, he still is. There were factions within the military which attempted to overthrow him, and because we would not be entirely cooperative, which I think was justifiable, it was impossible for us to turn over certain Turkish leaders in exile at that time. And keep in mind that this is during the Obama administration, poor diplomacy, and this is the result that we have today regarding Turkey. In fact, unfortunately, most of the problems that we now face throughout the world are the results of situations that occurred during the end of the Reagan administration, the
Right.
beginning of the first Bush administration, the Clinton administration, and then the second Bush administration, and then finally the Obama administration. And it's through the leadership of all of these administrations that have caused the problems that we are now facing throughout all of the Middle East. And now all of a sudden we're expecting President Trump to put all the pieces together. And unfortunately, he's not getting very much cooperation from Congress. It's a very tragic situation in that respect.
It's not just Congress, it's all the intel agencies. This so-called whistleblower is not a whistleblower at all. This is a political operative of a coup, right?
Yes. I personally think that we're going to find out that the so-called whistleblower was one of the White House aides or staff members it had to be someone that was in a position to acquire top secret information, and there are not too many of those in Washington that would fit that category. So, but I have a feeling it could be someone who is even currently within the administration, someone whom is still highly trusted by the president. We have people that are now leaders of some of the various intelligence agencies whom I would never trust, and yet the president has to rely upon them for making very difficult decisions.
I think he's got a bad panel of advisors. If we were advising, he would have a different panel, wouldn't he? We'd have different choices to make.
Most assuredly, Dr. Deagle. Most assuredly. And of course, we have the situation which you're probably far more knowledgeable about what I am about the forthcoming impeachment. Basically, it will be patterned after the Clinton impeachment, whereby President Clinton was impeached by the House, but
a few factoids. First off, there's no impeachment unless there's a vote, and the vote won't happen because it won't win. The Senate will not allow the impeachment to proceed there. There'll be parallel investigations because once you start a vote, it means a minority actually gets the right to subpoena documents. It means a minority in the House and the Senate can pull up documents and cross-reference the parallel people that are doing similar crimes that they allege the president's doing inside the Democrats. So they don't want to vote. They just want to see if they can run President Trump down, because a lot of the American population are pretty dumb. Half of the population believe he should be impeached. These people are brain dead. These are our fellow Americans that are brain dead, watching MSNBC. We call it MSLSD, I call it, right? Same as Josh Bernstein. Yep. We have people that believe that Trump collaborated with the Russians and did some sexual perversion there. Total lies. And they believe now he's actually trying to ask the Ukrainian leader to investigate Biden so he can knock Biden off before he becomes the lead candidate. That's garbage. All these things are lies, called the liocracy of the demon rats, and they're trying to create these lies because they think otherwise they're not going to win the election, and you know what? They're not. My feeling is the Democratic Party at the end of this day, 13 months from now when they vote, is finished. It'll cease to exist. There'll be the bones of the Democratic Party, they'll still call it that, but you won't see communists or socialists in there. You won't see maniacs that want to just lie. You'll see people that have to act more reasonable. And we need rule changes in the government. For example, Mr. Nadler and Mr. Schiff, what they did when they ran the so-called dialogue, he called it parody, he should have been sanctioned and removed from the Intel Committee. It's ridiculous that this man is still talking, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Dr. Deagle. I wish the American people were aware of what happened nearly 2 decades ago during the Clinton administration. It was a very sad situation. I personally knew David Shippers, who was the attorney hired by the House of Representatives during the impeachment process, and it was his role to take the impeachment charges to the U.S. Senate and let them know basically what the president at that time was being charged with. But they never got or even scratched the surface at all.
Even when there were some bad things done in the White House, Clinton actually got more popular before he left. So I believe this impeachment will destroy Biden's presidency, kill the Democrats, and guarantee Trump's re-election.
Do you have difficulty taking supplements? Are you searching for a high-quality, complete nutritional drink that your whole family will love? NutriMedical's Life Support has arrived. All of your daily nutritional requirements in one quick, delicious drink. Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support is a proprietary blend of vegan protein, activated vitamins, essential minerals, amino acids, probiotics, green tea, digestive enzymes, anti-inflammatories, cancer prevention, detoxification, and much more. Your body will high-five you for this one. Life Support is the best complete nutritious meal replacement on the market. Whether you are an elite athlete, have post-operative challenges, chronic illness, elderly, or a family that just wants a quick, delicious drink, try Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support for optimized nutrition in one great-tasting smoothie. Just add cold water, almond milk, fruit, or anything else you like. NutriMedical's Life Support. Try our great-tasting chocolate or vanilla today. Call 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com. NutriMedical.com for the whole family.
Legacy Emergency Foods is the top recommendation from Dr. Bill Deagle for the lowest oxygen concentration, the largest entrees, the highest amount of protein, the most varied entrees as well, and the longest food storage life. Nothing like Legacy Emergency Foods, and if you place a regular monthly order, you get 20% off and free shipping. Do get Emergency Foods for your supply for preparation, and get it from Legacy Foods. Contact Dr. Bill Deagle for the link at NutriMedical.com. Go to the Shop by Products link and drop-down message at NutriMedical.com, and then place your orders for regular emergency food for yourself and your family. Nothing like emergency food if the power goes out and you can't go to grocery stores, or if there's an emergency or a national crisis. So NutriMedical.com, top recommendation, Legacy Foods. NutriMedical.com, go to the Shop by Products and drop-down menu, and stay well with NutriMedical every day of your life. Lumen photon therapy, infrared light, far and near infrared, is extremely important for pain control, stimulation of nitric oxide, improved perfusion, and stem cell activation and reduction of cytokines. Dr. Bill uses it for pain control, for regeneration techniques, for organ regeneration, and for stimulation of your stem cell activity. This amazing lumen photon therapy this year will probably have an additional device with frequency therapy during the on phase of the lights. To obtain a lumen photon machine, contact Dr. Bill at NutriMedical.com, 888-212-8871. He'll prescribe it with the providing nutraceuticals to help with your regeneration, healing, and pain control. Nothing like the lumen photon therapy for easy therapy for your eyes, your pain, your joints, regeneration of organs, detoxification of the body. Get a lumen photon machine from Dr. Bill Deagle, NutriMedical.com, 888-212-8871. Stay well with NutriMedical. The Sonic Life Machine is one of the most amazing therapies that Dr. Bill provides. It is the best sine wave exercise machine on the planet, doing whole body vibration, opening up the muscle to reduce insulin resistance, improve perfusion, release stem cell therapies throughout the body, and epigenetically stimulate the body to release DNA activated. The epigenetic therapy with the sine wave curve of frequencies given for atomic resonance by Linus Pauling for minerals and amino acids stimulates the production of messenger RNA to correct structural protein enzyme deficiency for almost every illness. There's nothing like the sine wave therapy for improving body healing for exercise, but also the epigenetic treatments Dr. Bill can provide can help neutralize frequencies for disease states and illness. Get a Sonic Life machine through Dr. Bill Deagle at NutriMedical.com. Contact us at NutriMedical.com, 888-212-8871, or go to the website NutriMedical and give us a contact. Dr. Bill is available to help you get well with NutriMedical.
Need a powerful ally to fight daily bugs and serious pathogens? Allicin Med is the powerful universal pathogen killer's latest advance of German-sourced allicin, enzymatically stabilized to clear the body of bacteria, fungi, mycobacteria, and parasites. It penetrates body biofilms and is non-toxic to tissues. Pathogen resistance cannot develop for long-term body-optimized wellness. Clear stealth pathogens that promote autoimmune disease, cancer and vascular inflammation and plaque and promote healing of tissues. Now pathogen-free. With 200 milligrams more power than prior Alamed, you can't get a more powerful ally to fight daily bugs and serious pathogens. Give your body what it needs. Allicin Med. Order Dr. Bill Deagle's Nutridyne at 888-212-8871 or NutriMedical.com. That's 1-888-212-8871 or NutriMedical.com. And listen to the NutriMedical Report on the Genesis Radio Network with open lines every weekday. NutriMedical.com, bringing nutrition and medicine together.
think is coming, with POTUS, either in White House or a secure video link, what would you say to him?
Well, I would say, Mr. President, everything that you've worked out in terms of your NSS, your national security strategy, is basically good, but it doesn't go far enough, and it ignores the real threats that are existing at this time, and your administration has taken no action against them, and time is running out. That would be my forwarding statement, and then I would go on to talk about La Orchia Island. I'm sure the president's been informed about it, but unfortunately the intelligence analysts do not understand the grave significance of this situation. They just think that it's a landing spot for the Blackjack bomber, which is basically obsolete, although it's being refitted to carry air-to-ground missiles, which could strike the United States. But they have no clue, apparently, about the significance of the giant Antonov 120 AN-124 Ruslan military air transport, which can carry several intermediate-range ballistic missiles armed with thermonuclear warheads, which from Nicaragua or La Orchia Island strike any region of the United States with great accuracy. And I cannot believe that any administration would be as negligent as this one has for this length of period of time, but considering that you have...
His last letter showed he ignored your statements, and if his intel people even listen to the programs or look at all your previous letters, they'd realize that they don't know what the hell they're doing. Excuse my English.
They don't have a clue, Dr. Deagle. And we are the outsiders, we are the private citizens, but in reality, we have far more gray matter and far more expertise in these matters than they do. It's ironic, and yet they want to downplay us as much as they possibly can because they're trying to save their careers. If we were able to get through, I'm sure several of their careers would be threatened if indeed we actually got through to the president on these matters. So it's still going to be rather unlikely that we ever are able to reach the president. I'm still hoping that it's possible. We've had many people that say, yes, well, I'll consider sending a letter to the president or an email letter to the president regarding the situation, but I have other things to do this week. Unfortunately, those other things this week are going to cause us to pay a dear price. We've never been in a situation of this type before. It's just the reverse of the Cuban Missile Crisis. This situation is fully operational. It's only going to take a short period of time to deploy these weapons as soon as they're unloaded at any of these bases in Central America or the Caribbean. And unfortunately, we never had that type of threat during the Cuban Missile Crisis. They were not even operational at that particular time. They would have been in the very near future if my analytic reports were not confirmed by the U-2 aerial reconnaissance flights and the information from those flights that was assessed by U.S. Naval Intelligence, which basically confirmed my earlier findings of a year earlier. But this situation is just going on, and unfortunately, the president still feels as if he can trust Russian President Vladimir Putin, have good relations with him. I think in his mind, he still trusts Putin more than he does Ukrainian President Zelensky. And so the situation continues to worsen. And I don't know what it's going to take for the president to wake up on these matters. Will you or I have to run as a presidential candidate in the Republican primary? Is it still possible to get his attention? I'm just trying to think of all possibilities. To be honest, I really don't have the resources, and longevity is not working in my favor. But but we have to get his attention if it's at all possible. And I don't think I think part of the problem that we have, Dr. Deagle, is because people never understood the Cuban Missile Crisis. As soon as it was blown over in November of 1962, everyone just forgot about it without ever understanding what the actual consequences would have been, how practically the entire American population at that time of roughly 170 million would have been obliterated. And people have more or less taken for granted that this was all taken care of by their government, when in reality none of the U.S. intelligence agencies, and I probed into this quite deeply, were ever aware or ever had a clue as to how viable the threat was during that period of time. Some of the nastiest letters I ever received in my life were the two U.S. senators from California at that time, U.S. Senator Thomas Kuchel and the Democratic senator at that time, whose name is just at the tip of my tongue, but I won't be able to say it. And of course, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, once it was revealed, Thomas Kuchel gets aboard a U.S. jet fighter plane and flies to Washington, gets a lot of photo ops because he was so concerned about the whole situation, when in reality he was about as far away from reality as you can imagine. But this is what politics is all about in Washington. They want to discredit those who are dedicated and promote those who are basically career-oriented, but people that can be controlled to do favors in the future. And this is what we are apparently facing again. It's hard for people to imagine what it would be like in just a brief period of time to find their whole nation and themselves destroyed. Obviously,
exactly. We're connected by phone. We had a power outage here, very timely by the devils that control the internet. And of course, it knocked out everything. My computer. We were back on generator. I have a generator, Generac, 20 kilowatt. It kicks in 4 seconds, but even the internet's still down. But we are connected by phone, which is good. We have backup. Please continue, John.
I didn't quite hear the last
please
part.
Continue. We got knocked out by a power outage, but please continue.
Oh, okay. So basically what we have now is a crisis, and unlike being able to reach the president, as apparently I was able to do with John F. Kennedy, and research later confirmed this, in this particular situation, we have a president who basically is relying upon the judgment of incompetent individuals, and as a result, he has no clue as to how serious the situation is at this time, and the United States of America could basically perish at any time, because, as you have said so many times, Dr. Deagle, we do not have an adequate or effective missile defense system. The defense system that we have is basically just a figure of one's imagination.
It's a figment of the imagination. And when I hear the latest letter of the president on the 12th, which I prophesied, he said we have a two-layer defense. We have no defense, and it's a fantasy that can get us into a thermonuclear conflict. At the very least, a power outage with a high-altitude explosion of one of these bombs. More serious would be a military site or an ally or a population center in the U.S. hit. And theoretically, if the full population area of America is hit with nukes from Russia, 300 million American citizens will die in a thermonuclear flash in one day. The population survivors would be around 31 million to 34 million, and half of those would be dead in 20 to 30 days.
And those who might survive, many of those would wish they were dead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Now there might be
amazing,
a few
isn't it?
elitists in underground cities and shelters where they might be able to live comfortably for a brief period of time, but in reality, just like in Plato's cave, they're going to have to come to the surface and face reality.
Yeah, exactly. They'll have to do that. That's for sure. It looks like I might have got my access, which may connect back up here in a minute before the end of this segment. So we'll try the next segment. We'll see if we can actually connect. But my internet's down. My regular internet's down, but my access has got a direct connection there, so which is good. Maybe that's working. So we'll see what I can do in terms of getting things to get rolling here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I don't think even our listeners fully understand. You and I are being targeted.
Oh yeah, targeted both spiritually, electronically, technologically. Even when I come on this new network, I'm having great difficulty getting other co-hosts to actually interview me on their shows. I've had one gentleman I've had on my show 3 weeks ago for just a segment. On none of the other networks did any of them show me any respect for Republic Radio, Genesis Network, or even Rents Network. When we went on the Rents Network 6 months ago with that article, he even changed the title of the article and disappeared from the news items within a few days, when this is essential for America's survival. If Trump doesn't manage this properly, whether it's during his term or after, we're in grave danger of the American population disappearing in a thermonuclear flash, right?
Yes. And unfortunately, unless we can get help from the American people, normally we would be able to make contact with a high-ranking official, if not the president himself, on a matter as serious as this. But,
right, exactly.
But in this case, it's just the opposite.
Exactly. I totally agree.
This is why we need to generate a critical mass, basically, of patriotic...
Well, people need to start emailing. Just go to Google up and contact the president by email or certified letter. And if he gets a large enough barrage, you'll realize his political survival, even if he does get reelected, his political survival to be considered a great president will be dependent on whether or not he doesn't just bring the economy back, but he protects America from intellectual property theft by China and America from thermonuclear attacks from Russia and China. And people need to grasp that now. We'll be back in a moment with John W. Spring, despite the attack.
Are you still looking for that one iodine that you can really trust? A medical doctor-endorsed product that is backed by honest research and true integrative science? Then search no further. Go to NutriMedical.com for Dr. Bill Deagle's Nutriodine, proven time and time again to be the very best iodine available for you. Nutriodine is the only Tesla-activated monatomic plasma iodine in the world. It optimizes mitochondrial function and generation of new mitochondria, from totally neutralizing the venom from a desert recluse spider bite in Southern California to eliminating malaria parasites reported by medical missionaries in Central India. Dr. Bill's Nutriodine is simply the most powerful healing formula there is. Nutriodine clears the body of all known pathogens, restores it to an alkaline state, and even promotes stem cell regeneration. Order Dr. Bill's Nutriodine today at 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com.
Red Deer Velvet DR is an amazing new product with a patent to preserve 300 biomolecules and 6 hormones, same as fetal life, where you don't age at all. The state of fetal life allows the 300 biomolecules and 6 hormones produced by the placenta to be supportive of the regeneration of tissues and organs, with maximum apoptosis, changing the tissue and organ structure of a fetus. That's why if fetal surgery is performed, there is no scar. Taking 2 to 3 capsules twice a day with oncomycin, myco-D2, provides an amazing support for regeneration of any tissue and organ in the body, and even advanced stem cell therapy support treatment. Do get NutriMedical's Red Deer Velvet DR from Dr. Bill Deagle at NutriMedical.com, NutriMedical.com, 888-212-8871. Stay well and stay young with NutriMedical. Hi, I'm Dr. Bill Deagle, MD, AAEM, ACAM, A4M, of NutriMedical.com, and a consultant providing email advice free on advanced protocols for your optimized wellness and advanced technologies to heal and regenerate you. You can contact us at NutriMedical.com, that's NutriMedical.com, or 888-212-8871. You get free email starter protocols of our top medical-grade nutraceuticals, initial testing, and recommendations for your own primary doctor to do, as well as recommendations to give you an idea of a consultation and a full protocol to try to help you regenerate your tissues, heal naturally without the use of toxic polypharmacy. I can send test kits to you as well anywhere in the world and provide you recommendations for referral of specialty clinics worldwide. So contact me, Dr. Bill Deagle, at NutriMedical.com. That's NutriMedical.com, or 888-212-8871. At NutriMedical.com, we have the most amazing drinks with the best mouthfeel, highest quality bionutrient exposure to your body to heal and regenerate, and the most powerful persistence of nutrients to heal your body dramatically. We have Ageless, which makes you age less, which repairs your DNA, extends your telomeres, etc. We have Life Support that detoxes phase 2 detox pathways, glucuronidation, sulfation, and methylation pathway support. We have Glycemics that blocks the carbohydrate absorption and helps with diabetes or weight loss, and as well helps with people that are trying to build up muscle, using things like our special formulas from Dr. Wolf called Mega Muscles between meals along with Sports Energy Light. We have the amazing NutriComplete, the most complete red and greens drink in the world, with the best mouthfeel and flavor. You can often mix it too with Vitamin Mineral Mix, which is our fruit-flavored mixed power of vitamin minerals. Stay well with NutriMedical every...
Your internet reconnected now after that power outage. This is the devil's work. Please continue, John. You have 2 letters, one from May 2018 and the other from September 6, 2019 from the President Trump or POTUS. Take out the salient points, please.
Well, during break, I just took a close look at them, and with just a difference of a few sentences, either deleted or added, they are, for all practical purposes, identical.
Oh, really?
Yes. Let me give you some examples. The very first paragraph of each, or the very first sentence, should say of each letter. Thank you for taking the time to express your views regarding foreign policy and our national
it looks
security.
like we're reconnected on the board.
So I think, Tomas can reconnect. Okay. Okay, Tomas, are you reconnected?
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, please continue. Go ahead.
Okay, as I was saying a few moments ago, Dr. Deagle, for all practical purposes, these letters of May 30th, 2018 and September 6th, 2019 are almost identical. The first sentence that I read is identical. The first sentence in this the second paragraph, my administration is devoted to protecting the American homeland and the American people, promoting American prosperity, preserving peace through strength, and advancing American influence. That's the same sentence that appears in both letters. The next sentence, my national security strategy, NSS, describes how my administration will protect and advance these four core interests. That's identical in both letters. Next sentence, it is based on a clear-eyed assessment of our interests and determination to tackle challenges we face. That one is very similar, except that it goes in the more recent letter, it goes on and acknowledges that there are military, economic, and political competitions in which we must engage to protect American interests and values.
Right.
But in the earlier letter, that just became part of a new sentence because it starts out, it acknowledges that there are military, economic, and political competitions in which we must engage to protect American interests and values.
Right.
And my administration has the confidence to compete. That appears in both.
So, Love, this is a speechwriter answering the president's letter and not really directly interacting with the president, is what you're saying.
Yes. In other words, I think we were somewhat deceived. I certainly was. I should have taken the time to check with the earlier letter.
Well, I get multiple attacks every day from Trump asking for money. He needs the money of intellectual manna because although he may be well-intentioned, he's doing evil. He's doing what is right in your own eyes, especially if you're a high-level Scottish Rite Mason, surrounded by globalists that are both on the left and right. And remember, the evil on Earth is both transdimensional and exoplanetary. We talk about it in other shows. For example, we had on Ali Marzulli last week, I'll be getting in Steve Quayle and Dr. Gary Stearman, who's a pastor and a prophetic analyst. What people don't understand here, Dr. Deagle doesn't just understand part of the issues. I understand everything. And if it wasn't for the fact that I'm saved Christian and I have seen the dark side and its glorious evil, and it only prospers because the regular population pretends it doesn't exist. Because if the population woke up, including our leaders, none of this evil would prosper in our country, but it does, because they think that people like us are fools. They're the fools that don't want to believe this. And Trump, if he believes there's people that have missile defense, or that you can negotiate with Kim, he's going to meet him next week. Negotiating with Kim is useless. These are Russian nukes in North Korea. They're supported by the communist regime in China who wants to steal our intellectual property and push Belt and Road around the world, which is their way of getting into every place in Africa and South America. People need to understand what's going on. If you read these documents from Xi in China, he's a dictator. He's a crazy man, isn't he?
Well, he certainly is a dictator that wants a lot of power. Now, I understand as a youngster, he did visit the United States, but certainly once he has acquired all of this power, absolute power in China.
Well, Huawei is the main pusher of 5G. 5G is the final layer of the mark of the beast. Do you know that?
It has to be. I mean,
the mark, and they deny us as a temple. In the Bible, we talked about was Carl Gallups, who'll be back on in a few weeks, and his pastor, messianic pastor in Israel, understands the Hebrew, that the temple that's referred to by the prophets in the New Testament is the temple of our mind and our spirit. It's not a building in Israel. If they build a building, the building that, in fact, I think will happen under Trump if he gets reelected in a second term, is the abomination that desolates. And his son, Jared Kushner, is a Kabbalistic warlock who worships Rabbi Schneerson, because the 1,300 years that the Jews spent in Babylon, they became apostate Druids. They're not the same Jews that marched around Jericho and caused the walls to fall down,
No.
which the word Jew means praiser. So people don't understand that, and even their genetic heritage. The reason why King Balaam of Khazaria, who used to attack the trade routes of the Silk Trail coming from Damascus, Syria, where my family, the Bashas, owned the largest caravan for thousands of years. The reason why is the population that runs Israel right now are the people of Gog and Magog. We're going to get Dan Patrick on, who wrote a documentary film and a book on this, about the fact that it says in Ezekiel 38, I'm against you, O Gog and Magog, chief prince of Meshech, Tubal, and Rosh. There's a direct tie to the Russians, because the Russians are tied directly to the Khazarians. They're the same people, aren't they?
Yes. Yes, they are.
The Khazars that run Israel, that's why a quarter of the population of Russia have Hebrew blood. But you got to understand, the reason why they switched to become Jews rather than Christians or Muslims, because they could have 9 centuries ago easily become just Christians. The reason why they did is because their belief system was just Druidic and satanic, was so close to Judaism at the time from Babylon, there was no significant textural differences. That's the reason why modern Judaism is apostate, completely apostate. They don't understand that. And when Jews just start to read the documents like the Sefer Yetzirah and Talmud of Babylon, if they have 2 clues in decency, they either leave the faith or they become a reformed Jewish Messianic believer and start to believe in Messiah HaMashiach, Jesus, who the Jews tried to change the calendar so that they wouldn't accept him, who is God in the flesh. There's only one God, not 3. And is reincarnated, and he's coming back for his bride, which is the human race, that he will marry when they're saved. And the rapture, there's no such thing as a rapture, is taking evil of the earth, not good. Because God is going to sanctify earth, so earth is a good place to live as we spread across the galaxy for the human race. There's no such thing as a rapture of good people taken to heaven and looking down. Don't look down, it's a mess. No. The rapture is removing evil, and God's going to do it, because he's going to set up their own actions that will destroy them. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, people need to understand that I see Trump setting up America, because I wrote in my prophecies, in fact, one of my friends, Dr. Dan Elid, actually said on the show last Friday, did you not prophesy the falling of the Twin Towers? Yeah, I did it in 1998, before I completed the last sections of the book Clay and Iron, which I printed up with the Prophecy Club in 1999. I had received a text years earlier. And in what's called the Small Scroll Prophecy, the first chapter of the Small Scrolls is specifically for the Ruby Stone, or Behold the Sun, which is America. I call America Ephraimerica. If you look at the Ephraimic tribes, or you include Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Britain, etc., and all of the nations of Europe are basically the apostate peoples that used to be in Ephraim. Okay? And what's happening is we are apostate still. In fact, the mark of the beast is going to come from America. And everything Trump is doing is accelerating us moving toward totalitarian financial control of the world. And if you think that China or Russia is going to win the economic and other wars with us, including Iran, you're a fool. It doesn't matter if it's Democrats or Republicans. America and the beast will win, temporarily. But God's going to put an end to it. And the Lord showed me a way that will happen. It will be an earth change where the full pole shift and the collapse of the internet and the biosphere, not to kill people, but to destroy the current cybernetic control of the matrix, because the final layer is something pushed by Huawei of China in total collaboration with Donald J. Trump and Mr. Mulvaney, his chief activator inside the White House. People don't get this. Trump is waltzing into the New World Order thinking he's doing good, when he's actually doing the abject opposite. He's doing evil. You know, fracking triggers off earthquakes. I got a report today, which I'm going to post up after the show, about Texas having a pile of earthquakes is caused by fracking. You don't frack water and then put that water into water supplies, which is toxic. You don't recycle toxic water. You don't put GMO food up, which destroys people's biology. And you sure as heck don't put E-toxins in the environment to destroy insects. Birds fall into the sky and destroys your gut biome and your epigenetics and kills the biosphere. As Einstein says, when you get down and kill all the bees with colony collapse disorder, and the primary colony collapse isn't neonicotinoid pesticides, which are outlawed in Europe, It's ELF toxins which knock out their guidance system because they can't steer through the geomagnetosphere and the positions of the sun to get back to their hive. People don't know this.
It's a tragic situation that's going on.
It's tragic not to listen to me. You know the problem I get? I get like, Rodney Dangerfield. I get no respect. I don't. I get spittle. I am a man of lick spittle, like the British like to say. And it's not for my sake. It's for your sake out there. If you don't damn well give me respect, even dialoguing with me or arguing, because if you can prove me wrong, I want to be proven wrong. I don't care if you got grade 3 and an IQ of 105, but you got evidence that makes sense. I want to hear it. I don't have people that do that. I have no callers lately, and haven't had for years because they're afraid if I call in, Dr. Deagle will take me apart. Only if you do ad hominem attacks, make a statement that's unsatisfied by legal standards. For example, to opine means you actually have evidence and logic to get a conviction in a court. I'm a medical legal expert in every area of specialty. I could pick up a law degree probably in a year. The problem is, I see, people don't use logic and evidence. They use emotion and regurgitation. It's very disgusting. The human race are heading toward catastrophe in every way. We are conspiring to destroy our biology, our world, our geopolitics, our spiritual relationship of how to serve God. And the only way to serve God is to Shema, hear and do, will. Nothing else works. And we're going to screw up, but God said, though a righteous man falls 7 times, I'll raise him up. He raised me up because he knew I had a good heart and I wanted to do his will, even though I was a screw up. But I'm God's screw up, and so is everybody out there. He saves, there's lots of nicer people than me going to hell, if you want to hear the summary of it, right?
Yes. Nicer
people than me, more personable, more willing to go golfing with or have to dinner. I am a bit aggravating because I'm going to raise issues in social media where I don't have the shut up gene, and I'm not going to shut up. And that's why when people say, I did an interview earlier this morning because I was up really early with Cody Snodgrass when somebody said STFU on the thing there. No, if I have to do a dialogue and a rant, you need to sit down and listen, and Cody will be on Wednesday and we'll have my other shows. But if I'm doing a rant like now, damn it, you've got to listen. And then you got to pray, and the Urim and Thummim stones in your soul will tell you if it's true. And then you need to support in prayer our gloriously intelligent, not whistleblower, intelligence expert and strategist, John W. Spring, to get him in front of President Trump before he blows it, and we have no defense, and we start a thermonuclear war with Russia. It is destined that they will destroy us if we don't listen and repent. Thank you, John, for your comment.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on with you again, Dr. Deagle.
We were knocked off. We're back on, but I'm hoping we can do some videos sometime, too. And I hope you get an answer, another one, probably one originally from Trump rather than Trump's affiliates that keep on trying to put out.
Which was most important because